Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Still my jam, even though I feel like crap, it's still my jam. I won't hold it back. That's the bell of purpose. We're here. It's Friday. I am not claiming anything but my birthrights today. I'm not claiming anything but prosperity, happiness, goodness, all those good things. Get behind me, all of you things that don't serve me. And I mean it. And when we mean things, guess what happens, everybody? They become meaningful somewhere instantly in your universe. Good morning and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. My voice is kind of coming back. I get steroids today, so I'm hoping. Why? Well, because I want to talk to y'all. I want to talk and not feel like someone took an SOS pad and scrubbed my throat. But got my lines last night, y'all. I got my lines, and I'm glad. My husband is glad too, because he's until I got the script, I kept making up stuff all day, every day. I was like, did you hear what happened to our neighbor? And he was going, honey, no, what? I was like, I go, I'm kidding. I'm just practicing my acting. He's sick of me. Let me tell you. So he's so glad I actually have a script. And that's because next weekend I'll be in Ohio, Cincinnati, recording that pilot. Pray for me. I'll need it for Heathen, the TV series. And something fun to do, right? Look at my eyes. Don't they look tired? I went to bed at 8:30 last night, you guys, but I'm still dealing with the COVID throat. And but hey, you know what? Tell you what I did last night to get out of my own way. We were watching AGT, America's Got Talent, and they didn't have the regular show last night. They had the Golden Buzzers, the top ones, and the number one was that girl. If you watch the show, who was on there last year, she didn't. She got a Golden Buzzer, and then she never came back to the show because she was dealing with cancer, and she ended up passing away during the taping of that season. And so I watched. Brian said, "Go watch her video." That she did 2 days before she passed. And so when I got in bed, that's what I watched. And, you know, when I went to sleep, I was just filled with gratitude. She dropped so many nuggets and she just, you know, she said so many things that made so much sense about holding on and complaining about things that you don't need to, you know. And I just looked at her and I said, this girl, here she is a couple days away from transitioning, been dealing with this cancer for 4 years. She's just 30 years old. Everything was happening in her life. Her song was number 8 on the charts because she'd already appeared on America's Got Talent. And she did nothing but smile. And so, you know, I just want to say today, as we get into today's show, rounding out this 4th of July weekend. And why? Because I'm feeling all guru-ish because, you know, I just turned 60, which, by the way, where is it? I woke up on my birthday morning with this pimple, this zit. I was like, yay! A sign of youth that wouldn't let go of me. I'll take it anywhere I can get it. So anyway, I'm so glad you guys are here. Happy Friday to you. Today officially is the 8th day of July. We are halfway through this year. You might want to check where you are as far as being on point with all those promises you made back in January about what you're going to do. Listen, I don't care if you've gotten started on all of it, some of it. Do your best, as the 4 agreements dictates. Do your best, and what is greater than will take care of the rest. You don't got to worry about it. Just make sure you do something. Why? Because a little something will always do better than a whole lot of nothing. Right? Can I get an amen? All right. Really quick, one other thing. I went on the site. I told you. Now you saw when I came back from the vacation. I shared with you guys my highlights. This was one of them, as well as my new Lucy mug. Say good morning to my sidekick, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. She's my version of Ed McMahon. But I went on the site because I met these people, gave some money last weekend. The Great Lakes, what's it called again? Great Lakes Burn Camp, serving children who have been moderately to severely burned. And they have a summer camp where these kids come and I went and saw the videos. It was just life-changing. So I'm going to throw at the end of the show into the comments that link on. And please, I just want you to get over and take a look. It'll make you feel good about a lot of what's going on. We have a lot of pain in this world right now, especially here in the area where I live, here in the greater Chicagoland area, because of what happened this week at the Highland Park 4th of July thing. A lot of people are hurting. They're wounded. Scared to leave their houses, this and the other. But you know what? We will not succumb to this. We will not. We will always move forward, end on top, fall forward, get back up, help each other. The negative will never win. I don't care what anybody says. So be encouraged. Be encouraged. Hey, who do we have today? Remember yesterday when our good friend Steve was here and Scott, and they were talking about the event coming up tomorrow in Seattle, Mind, Motivation, and Money. And we talked there was Ricky, I think his last name was Johnson. Ricky Johnson? Yeah. You know Ricky Johnson. Used to live across the street from Peaches. Remember over on Maple Street? Remember his mama was the freeze cup lady. Ricky Johnson. And I'm playing. It sounds like one of those kind of names, don't it, though? Anyway, Ricky Johnson. And then there was Dr. Lydie. And I kept saying, I wish she was here. I wish she was here. Well, secretly, while they were talking, I was texting her. And she was like, no, I have an arbitration tomorrow. This and other. So I went, please, Lord, please, 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 Heavenly Father, Father Abraham, please. Well, anyway, something happened, and she's here. Wait, if you haven't met Dr. Lydie, Get ready. You're going to mark this day on your calendar because you will not be the same. I promise you that. You will not be the same. Um, oh, I see she put a gift in here for y'all too. I'm putting that in the comments right now so I don't forget. Here it comes, y'all. Get ready. Watch your comment box. Dr. Lydie threw a free gift in for you guys. So let me tell you a little bit about this extraordinary woman. Um, oof, she's a PhD. She's a lawyer. She's the good lawyer. She's a business coach. She's a professor. She advises executives as well as entrepreneurs, musician. I mean, oof. Okay, I can't keep reading them all because I feel like I'm shrinking. Like, okay, dang. Okay, I have teeth at least, right? Overachieve much, Dr. Lydie? I'm kidding. Listen to this. Corporate executives hire Dr. Lydie to train employees to be strategic and legally mindful in their business practices. Entrepreneurs hire her to train and mentor them to create, build, protect, license, and sell their products and services and businesses for ultimate success. Now, get this. The United Nations hired Dr. Lily, Lord Jesus, help me, Father. Dr. Lydie to instruct South American and Caribbean entrepreneurs on the intellectual property and trade laws that impact their businesses. She was invited to present a TEDx talk in London, England. You know what, Dr. Lydie, you're doing too much. Leave something for the rest of us. I'm kidding. She has spoken at business, law, and economic conferences. Is it economic or economic? You be the decision maker. You make the choice. Anyway, she's in Berlin, Cape Town, and Paris. Okay, you know what? Dr. Lydie, is there anything you haven't done? Guess what? We're going to find out. Put your hearts on the screen. Put some hearts into this conversation. You know how we do. She's a first timer. Let's love up on her right now. Put those hearts on there. Here she comes, Dr. Lydie, the good lawyer. Hi, Dr. Lydie.
Hello, 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 Dr. Lauren. How are you, my dear?
I'm blessed and highly favored, as our good friend Steve would say.
Oh yes, oh yes,
Right?
and living in Dominion.
I know. That's too much. I can put that on there. It is interesting though. Living in Dominion. What does that mean to you?
Living in God's glory that He has set out for me.
Okay, I can say it. And living in Dominion. Yes, yes. Dr. Lydie, my goodness. That bio of yours.
Yeah.
Let's well, first of all, because we got a lot of ground to cover. Say hello. I'm gonna dip out for a second. Let you say hello to the folks. Tell them where you are in the world. And just get to know them for a minute. Let them get to know you, and then I'll pop back in and we'll get started.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Lydie. I am the good lawyer and good business coach. And the reason I claim that space is because so many of us, so many people that look like me, so many people that don't look like me but have experienced things, the disappointments in life that I have, need oftentimes someone to be a sounding board, someone to say, hey, is this okay? Hey, I want to do this. This happened to me. And oftentimes, I found when I was growing up that I did not have that person to go to. And it wasn't because it was a bad childhood, it was, for most of us, a good as we knew it to be. And it took me a long time to understand that our childhood is not bad. It's from our eyes now looking back. Well, like, oh my God, it could have been so much better if I only had, and you fill in the blank. So I try to be the blank for many people because many people have been the blank for me. And I say to everyone, but for the grace of God go I. And I'm a very spiritually connected woman. I come from a line of 14 generations up of Episcopalian priests in the family. So my generation is the first one in the family not to have created an Episcopalian priest. So it's everyone's devastated. And I said, please, somebody go do it. That is not my calling, right? I'm more of a warrior than I am a priest in terms of the consoling, the loving, the guiding. I do that through law because law could be a heavy hammer if you're
Yes, Lord.
if you're not careful, and oftentimes people won't take on that fight for you, right?
Right.
They're going to say, what did you do to get yourself right in this situation? And oftentimes we didn't do anything. We were just standing there minding our own business, and then bam, something happened, and you're trying to unfold it now to figure out, why am I the one being selected for, I don't want to say badness, but for bad things that will eventually come. So I learned at a very young age that you have to understand law. As much as we run from it, it's running towards us.
Mm.
And at some point, we've got to turn around and just face it and say, okay, what do you want? What do I have to prepare for? Who do I need to call on? Where's my army? And if we, and so you had Steve on, who was, and the reason Steve and I resonate so much, uh, we're very infused God people, I would say. He
Yeah.
does it in a different way than I do it. When you read through the stories in the Bible, there are always these fights, these armies, right, that are fighting for the kingdom of God to have a safe place to simply exist. I am of that lineage. I am part of that army that says, let my people live in peace.
Mm.
And in this case, let them thrive, right? Allow them to thrive. So that's my vibration. And Steve is much more of the consoling, supportive, kindness. I do kindness in a different way. My kindness is ensuring that you're okay. Where do I need to go and battle? Right, on your behalf so you
Oh,
can be
yes.
okay, right? Someone's got to do
I
that.
already know. If I needed a lawyer, or Lord, hope I never do again, because back in the day, I had more lawyers than I had draws. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Back then and back in the day, and because it was interesting to me. I was like, people are gonna say the good lawyer. You don't hear those two words pushed up to get next to each other very
No,
often. Very often.
no,
But
that's
I think
true.
that industry gets a bad rep. Because I've had some really great lawyers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even when I was in the world of needing public defenders back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
I had but I always found that the best ones, as far as public defenders, were the new ones
Yes,
before they
yes.
got all burnt out and jaded and swamped and buried in paperwork, and they
Mm-hmm.
really had a heart of service.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about that. How do you avoid burnout? Because you got so many irons in the fire. Uh,
Right, right.
you should be as crispy um,
I
as
should be
you know,
as a piece of toast,
as
right?
a
I
piece
should
of
be
toast,
as a
right?
piece of toast. I have four what I'll call pillars that I stand for. And as long as I stay within those pillars, I find that burnout is something over there. It's not in my direct line that I have to go through. I don't try to do everything. I acknowledge that I am not the all-knowing, all-doing person, but I have some special gifts that I was imbued with from birth, from my lineage, as we all are. And I try very hard to develop those gifts. So for me, the art of speaking to convince is a powerful thing for me because sometimes you need someone to speak on your behalf, right?
Yes.
And we often think it's a lawyer, but it could be anybody who has the gift and what I call a connection to the truth and the source of love can do that for you if they choose to do it for you. So my one of my pillars is being able to express on behalf of others what is right, what is good, always positive. One of my other pillars that I stay in my lane on is I consider myself a very good writer, right? And it's not technical law. Anyone who reads one of my briefs or hears a summation that I do, I bring life into it because I tell stories. What do we do from a very young age? People tell us stories. We
Oh, yeah.
like storytelling.
Yes, we do.
So if you can bring that into law and tell the story in a vibrant way, you find that more people are willing to agree with you because it's resonating with them. My other pillar where I think I'm fairly good at, and I try to do that for folks, is I'm a really good writer, right? And my ability to write comes from the divine. Like I
Mm.
go to sleep before I write. I literally have to take a nap before I start writing, and then things just come across on the page. And let me share this one thing that I learned a very long time ago from someone much wiser and experienced than I am. Don't, if you're writing something creative or anything powerful that you want to get across to someone, never type it.
Yep.
Write it out.
Yep. That's
Right?
it. I don't type. I don't. I was gonna say I don't type nothing.
Nothing.
I don't. I do, because it's just like when we were kids, and they wanted us to memorize our spelling words. We
Right.
would write them over and over, or in my case, up at the front at the blackboard, writing "I will not throw spitballs" 100 times.
I love it. Oh, you were that kid in the room throwing spitballs? Oh
And
my
when I was in
God.
the room, most of the time I was in the hallway because I'd
Always.
finished my work. I'd finished
Early,
my work.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
because I had, see, that's the thing. Back then, they thought I was just hyper. It was ADHD. But I would
Right.
finish my work. I was bright. I didn't have anything wrong on the page. But then I'd start picking with everybody else. You're like, "Oh,
You see,
yeah,
I didn't do that. I finished early too. You know what I did? I sat quietly and waited. I sang to myself. Right? People are like, well, where did you learn how to sing? I was singing myself in the classroom while people were still doing work. Right?
well,
So I didn't
that's
throw
why you're,
spitballs. I didn't bother them.
oh my God. I was horrible. Horrible. But popular. So my
Oh, I
classmates,
bet you were.
oh, I was, because I think I was a control freak when I was a kid because I let me do it. Right. It's
Right, right,
my
right.
sleepover, but I learned, I grew, I changed, I
I
evolved.
love it.
Let's speaking of when we were young, um, where'd you get your start? Where were you raised? And
Yeah,
what was your give us a Reader's Digest version, if you will, of what life
sure.
was like at the beginning for young Lydie. Um,
Yeah,
and what examples were around you? How did
yeah,
you start dreaming into who you are today?
yeah. So I had, like most people, a very turbulent childhood. I was born in the Caribbean in the Dominican Republic and
Oh,
raised in Brooklyn. So I like to say, just like Alexander Hamilton, raised in the Caribbean, but really born in the Caribbean, raised in Brooklyn. My dad was an Episcopalian priest, and he was also a lawyer. And he
oh,
was a people's lawyer, he was a community lawyer. So he helped everyone in the neighborhood, the grocery store, the dry cleaners, the cleaning ladies that had a legal issue. They would come to the house on the front porch and tell him. And there I was listening and learning, right, about these stories. And then he would tell them how to solve it. And he would say, I don't want money, just leave something in the bowl for others in the community. So I watched that until I was 9 years old. And it really settled in my soul, I would say. And then he disappeared one day. He just never came home. Um, it
the
Gone.
proverbial "I'll be back. I'm going out to get a quart of milk."
No, it was years later. We didn't know what happened to him until I was in college, and he showed up at my graduation from Columbia University. I didn't recognize my father. I had seen him at 9, and I was graduating from Columbia. I was 19 going on 20. And there was this tall, powerful looking man at the end of the platform. And there was only but so many dark people at the graduation. So he
Right.
stood out, right? And I was like, wow, who is this? And and as I passed him, he said my name. And I'm like, Dad? So
Ooh, I
it
got
it
chills.
yeah, it devastated my mom, right? Because my mom was a scientist, she was a physicist, she was also a painter. So she was beautiful from the Caribbean, green eyes, red hair, dark complexion. She was so exotic, and she sang and she painted. So they were the perfect complement, right, for each other. He's very intellectual and, structured in the law, and religious. And she's just, ha ha ha, hello, hello, hello. You were talking about Lucille. Okay, imagine a Dominican version of Lucille Ball. That was mom, right? That
Oh,
was
I
mom.
love her.
so but she didn't, have any real skills to make any money to keep us together, right? She couldn't afford the house, right? She didn't work. She could write a poem, she could draw art, she can solve a physics formula, an equation, but she couldn't earn money. And I think there's a lot of people that have these powerful gifts, but we can't earn money from them. And I learned from watching my
Creative, a
mom.
lot of
Yeah,
creative.
creatives, and don't know how to monetize it. So that's one of the things, that's my other pillar. How do I monetize my peeps? So that's my fourth pillar. So I watched us lose the house. I watched us lose my private education and went to public school. And it got so bad for my mom and I is that we wound up in shelters. We wound up in homeless shelters, women's shelters.
Wow.
And I tell people this because I want people to know, no matter where you are or where you've been, God has a different destiny for you, but you just need to believe and lean into it. You
That's
need to
right.
do the work, right? It doesn't come like magic like they do in the movies. You make a wish and it's here. You make a wish and you work on that wish, is what I've learned over the years. So we wound up in shelters for almost, I want to say, almost 8, 9 years. We were in shelters until,
Wow.
yeah. And people are always shocked by that. Where was family? Well, we didn't have a lot of family, right, in New
They're
York at the
probably
time, right? They
mhm.
were back in the Caribbean. And she didn't want to go back in shame that it didn't work out. So we wound up in shelters, and which is why I give to the church so much, is because we were usually in a church basement somewhere where they would lay out cots and things like that, or we'd wind up in the city shelters, which were dangerous as heck. But I would
Right.
always give my mom the cot. You get one bed, no matter how, one bed per adult. The kids slept on the floor. And that was a defining moment for me in those shelters, right? I was scared, I was cold, people were crying. And I just kept praying, right? I am a child of a priest, but I come from a heritage of believing in faith. So I would pray and cry, pray and cry. And one of the songs, and I want to share this because singing for me helped me survive. And I only knew one song really, right? So I just kept
Yeah.
singing that one song all the time. And it's a song that we all learned, but we oftentimes forget the power, right, in those words. And for me, it was, I'm tearing up a little bit because I resonate with that pain still of
Yeah.
not having anything or anyone or any place to stand up for me.
Mhm.
And it was this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. No matter what they say, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, let it shine. And people would begin singing that song in the shelter. You'd hear them
Oh,
popping up
wow.
here, popping up there, and the walls. It was always brick walls, right? Because we were in some sort of, official building.
Right.
And the power of that. And we were in the dark, so we didn't know who was singing. We just heard voices singing. And my mom would squeeze my hand. And I literally sang that every night for 9 years living in a shelter. And then one day I got a scholarship to Columbia University, and my life changed at that moment. I got to meet wealthy parents that took a liking to me because I was always the worker bee. Can I help with this? But didn't, because that's how I grew up.
Right.
And the parents were like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Lydie. They're like, Lydie, it was a hard name. I'm like Lydia in the Bible who sold purple cloth. And people always forget the women of the Bible, right? And people are
Yeah.
like, well, who was Lydia in the Bible? We know Mary. I'm like, yeah, but there were other women around Jesus. So Lydia, when Jesus was doing his sermons and traveling around Judea, uh, always stayed at someone's home. There was no hotels, right? You couldn't book a hotel room. A good Christian, a good believer would open their home to Jesus and the disciples. So he went to the country of Lydia, and nobody offered him and the disciples a place to stay.
Okay.
He taught the sermon, and he had no place to sleep. And a woman in the group came and said, "You can sleep at my home, Jesus. I'm Lydie. I'm Lydia." And at the time, it was unheard of for a single woman to invite anyone
Ooh,
into their home.
scandal.
Scandal, right?
She
And
knows
she
she
was
wrong for that. Did you hear
she
what
knows,
she
and
did?
she told Jesus, she says, "I'm an unmarried woman, but I do have a home that I'd like to offer you and the disciples to sleep." And Jesus said, "Absolutely, we will come." Well, that was a scandal. What? Jesus staying at Lydia's house? What's going
You
on?
know,
With
yes, all them disciples. You
Okay,
know
with
what
the
they're thinking.
disciples, right? So you got 13 men, right, in your
Okay.
house.
Right.
It was probably they had a good old time. And so Jesus said to her, "Because of your kindness, you are blessed forever,
Mm.
for all eternity."
Oh,
Right? And yet nobody knows Lydia. You have to go research her. Go, oh my God. And she became a saint that no one talks about. So again, the invisibility, right, of the good things that we do in life is real. It happened in Jesus's time. So after college, so during college, these wealthy parents took me in terms of teaching me business. They're like, "You have such a good heart. You're so considerate. You need to start a business." I didn't know what a business was. I was 17, going on 18, and they're talking to me about this. I came from a shelter, right? And what they said was the best business anyone can start is the thing that you do the best
yes.
naturally, that no one
Right.
has taught you to do, that it just comes from
Just
you,
there.
right? It's there. So they said, "What do you do naturally?" I'm like, "I'm 17. What do I do?" And I said, "I can babysit really well." They're like, "Perfect." I'm like, "Babysitting?" Yes, because we know families that would entrust their most beloved, precious thing in the world to someone that they will take care of them, and they don't have to worry. And they would pay top dollar for that. I said, "I don't know any of those people."
They
They're
exist. Right.
they were like, "But we do." So they would basically loan me out to their friends, and I didn't ask for money. They would give me $100. I was like, for 2 hours of looking after little Jeffrey, and from that $100, my rate went to 200. It went to 300. I was 17.
Hey,
Because when people value what you do, price is not an issue for them,
it's not an issue.
right? That's what I learned from them. When you're giving good value to the right person, the monetization, the money transfer is irrelevant to them because they need and want you.
That's right.
So I multiplied myself. I hired a few other young ladies at the college to do the same thing that I was doing. And they were getting $200-300 an hour as well, because we were babysitting for wealthy families in New York, in Connecticut, in New Jersey. We'd go to, vacation with them in Switzerland. We took care of the kids, and we were smart. So we trained the kids. So with that model, I learned that whatever my gift is, I need to offer it to the world.
There
The
you go.
right person will come and see the value that I bring. And I want people to really, really, really understand the power of that. The gift that you're born with is all you need.
So true. Now listen, we're gonna go and take a short minute and a half break, and when we come back, I wanted to talk to you because, well, you've already dispelled the myth that okay, yeah, it looks like I was born with a silver spoon. Things are great, but it doesn't mean they stayed that way. There were twists and turns.
Mm-mm.
So that's off the table. But I'd like to get into the subject of how you deal, because you have so many accolades, you have so many credentials. And I've watched people around you. It's like you're a celebrity. And so when we come back, I want you to talk to people about how important it is to understand the art of ego management. So
Mm.
when we come back, we're going to get into it. Now's a great time to share the broadcast out. Still a lot of content coming up, and you don't want to miss it. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm Jeremiah the Bullfrog. No, I'm kidding. I'm Lauren, sounding like still channeling Louise Jefferson, but let's get Dr. Lydie back in. Great stuff this first half of the show. But I wanted to get into how you deal with, because I know you know it, you feel it going on around you. And the reason I bring this up is because so many of us work really hard. We go through all those trials and tribulations. And I know for a fact, because I'm sitting in that spot right now, I can use you as an example. What I'm talking about is how, went through all kinds of crap. Betrayed, talked about, abused, all these things. But I have been able to forgive, release, bless them. Why? Because how bad could they be? Every single thing that ever hurt me led me right here to you. Led me right here to you. So how bad could it be? But a lot of people don't get to this beautiful divine intersection where they can look in all directions, top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner, and know that this is exactly within purpose. And so ego management, I deal with it today still, because it seems like when people are praising, ooh, you're doing a movie, ooh, you're doing, it's when I need stroking the most, but it just doesn't feel right. It's like I feel something pulling me. No. How are things with you? To get, you know what I mean? Turn it back. It's an art. I believe it's an art. And a lot of people don't talk about it, don't acknowledge it. And with all the things we see behind your name, I know you're proficient at it because I've watched you in action. So can we talk about that?
Yes, of course.
Because you see it, Dr. Lydie, when they're looking at you and stargazing and this and the other, talk about that piece. How do you deal with it?
So my reference point, I go back to what do words mean, right? Lawyers, we need to understand the words. So the definition, the one definition of ego is that space in our mind between the conscious and the unconscious, right? So that's the technical meaning, that empty space between what is real and the unformed yet. That's ego, the unformed, right? It's still in the spirit realm.
Right.
So for most of us, most Americans, I'll say, we have a very difficult time embracing spirit because we can't touch it.
I already have that ready.
Right.
I feel it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
You see, I didn't have to type it in. I keep that up there.
You keep it, right? It's a real thing. And the reason we have such a hard time with it is because in our Western philosophy of education and so on, We don't acknowledge the invisible. We don't give reference or reverence. We don't honor it. But I come from a Caribbean background, right? Where we do honor the spirit, where we do understand that there are things happening that we can't see, but we
Mhm.
can feel the vibration, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we don't have an explanation for it. But in our Western, primarily American way of being, we don't acknowledge it. We don't even talk about it. And when it happens to us, which it does, like almost every day, we don't know, we're not prepared to deal with it. And that causes for us trauma in the sense of we don't know what to do. We feel that we're not confident. We feel that we can't achieve beyond what someone else said we could achieve. We feel because of our past, because ugly things have happened to many of us, myself included, right? In the
Yes.
past, right? Because of our past, we're not worthy of having goodness, of having beautiful things happen to us, right?
Yes.
And it's unfortunate because that blockage, which is why I love the work that you do so much, Dr. Lauren, because you help people deal with that. And until we turn around, like in every scary movie, right? I hate scary movies because they scare me, and
Me too,
two,
girl.
right? They scare me. And the second reason, and this is a very technical word I'm going to use, they're caca. Right, because it's just caca, right? It's poo poo. Get away from me, right?
Right.
But yet we get scared. We get a whole vibration. We're like, oh, what's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. It's not real.
Not real.
It's not real. And unfortunately, we absorb that into ourselves and we get scared in life when certain things happen that we're not familiar with.
That's right.
And I think this is not the answer for everyone, but it's certainly been the answer for me. And I can only share what has worked for me is getting into a spiritual discussion and connection with yourself. Find the people that understand what Dr. Lauren is talking about, what I'm talking about in terms of the spirit realm is all around us. We are spirit. When they look at the atoms, I love science, right? I was a physics undergrad major. When you look at an atom, the smallest piece of material or matter, right, that you can feel, or 99% of that atom is empty space. There's nothing in there. And when the scientists study this, they're expecting to find plasma, some sort of liquid crystal power
Something in
source. It is nothing. It is 1% of it is matter and it's fluid. So
there.
this atom that has all this power, all this energy and it's the power that makes the light bulb light, it's the power that gives the engine, that we drive the car, it's power to move forward. When you look at the atom, there is nothing in there, but it's moving so fast. What it is propelling it to move so fast? So the scientists are still baffled by this. But
Good.
if you come from a line of spiritual knowledge, you
Mhm.
know that God is spirit. So who's in there? God. He's just chilling. He's making
Right.
things move.
Right.
You
Right.
can't see him with your human eyes. He made us, right? He made us. You can't see him.
And you know what? What I love about that is because it's set up to help us fulfill all the promises. And as far as seek and you shall find,
That's right.
you got to look for things. You got to be curious.
Yes.
And fear stops people from
Mhm.
being curious. Now, I want to say, you guys heard me say this just the other day. I admit it now, but I just recently in the last month started telling people about it. But I know now, because of the awakening, that
Mhm.
when I was in foster care, I would hear my social workers telling the new family, now he's nice and he's bright, he does his own thing, but don't be alarmed if you hear him having all these conversations and no one's
Mhm.
there, because he has a lot of imaginary friends.
Mhm.
They were never
They
imaginary.
were never
They're
married.
here right now.
Right.
One's over there, two are over there, there's four over there.
Right.
They're
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And right. And I'm so grateful to the experiences that I had as a child that connected me with what I hold on to for dear life
Mhm.
today. So,
Mhm.
you know, what did I put this down for? To see. Oh, remember when you were talking about how, is this a senior moment? Wait a minute. Look, like, I'm not kidding you. I get in my own way because I'm like, is it
I love
COVID
it.
foggy head? Because that's a real
No.
anyway. What I'm getting at is, you're at the spot where you're at today, Dr. Lydie. All these things, especially the connection. Oh, to see, that's what I know it. Thank you, Lord. It came back. Okay.
See that?
So, yes. It's like, I know in my journey, in my world, the more I hold on, the more consistent I am in my beliefs. I don't believe in a Morse code type journey where it's ... dash or shared custody agreement. I'll believe today in Easter, and then I'll, when I need something or when I'm scared, because let's talk about this fear thing. The only true fear is when your body is under, threat. Someone's got a gun on you. You're afraid of a diagnosis. Is it cancer? Is it malignant? Anything that could take our lives. Now that's that's impending,
Harm to you. Yeah.
Right. But if it's not that, then that fear is a lie.
Right.
You know,
I would add to that even the fear of a diagnosis of cancer or a gun pointed at you, not to be afraid. Because in that empty space, the distance between you and that person is God.
Ooh.
Right? You're not standing alone. And this is the one thing if that I really want people to resonate with and understand. You are never alone. You might be physically, no, I can't see anybody, but there's a whole spiritual realm that exists around us that we're a part of, but we can't see it in our eyes. And even when the scientists look at the super duper microscopes, they're like, there's nothing there. How does this atom move? It's God. It's another realm, and we're not taught this, right? Scientists are. So if you're into physics and things and nuclear, we understand that there's all space, that's energy. We're pulling it from, others talk about another dimension. Okay, call it that. But that's a spiritual cosmic power that we're drawing the energy from. So when your life is threatened, I grew up in Brooklyn. People have mugged me. I don't have anything. They still mug me, right? So people...
Give me that one you got on.
Right, I know. I'm like, okay, here you go. But God is present. He is observing. His angels are there. His warriors, his archangels are there. So what I say to folks, when you're in a moment of fear, and it's because we don't know what's going to happen next, and nobody wants to get hurt, nobody wants to die. That's our fear. I want to continue on. But understand that when you're in those moments, God is present, and he doesn't want any harm to come to you.
No.
Okay.
You know what? When you said that, even before you brought up your mugging, I was transported back to one time inside of my addiction. It was in Hollywood, California. I can see the ATM and everything, where this Mexican kid, gangbanger, came up to me. It was my last. I had $26 in my account, and I needed that 20 to go to the.
Need the 20, right? Need the 20.
As soon as it came out, he was like, with a knife, give me that. And I was like, I instantly knew. Here's what I did. I already knew this. You either got to give them crazy or Jesus. Right. One of them should work. But I was like, well, I'm not giving it to you. And if anything should happen, it's because God wants it to. Because I knew Mexicans. I knew they're very
very spiritual.
It's spiritual. Right. They burn the candles and this and that. I said, so, whatever you're about to do here is going to wash all over you and all your family. So, and he turned around and ran.
And he turned around and walked away. Because he knows the power of that, because it's real.
He ran. He took off, and I was like,
Yeah.
Note to self, use Jesus. right?
All the time,
Right.
all the time.
But you're
Jesus
right.
goes first. You know, the ancient Mayans have a proverb, and I share this with everyone because oftentimes we're like, how come no one came to help me? You know,
Your help's
how
already
come I'm
there.
doing this alone, right? Why do I have to do this alone? And so the ancient Mayans were warriors, builders of the what we now call Mexico, of that whole area. They built pyramids higher than Egypt, right? And
Know that.
their saying, the Mayan saying was, if it is to be, it is up to me.
Don't worry, y'all. She'll be right back. I'm really
Am I
grateful
freezing?
she
I
only froze once. Because when
Once.
we were, oh, that's me.
Ah!
Oh, internet.
I love it.
Okay, but I
love it.
still see myself on my phone. So now she's clapping on the screen, but she's frozen on that screen.
Oh, that's because I'm not moving.
Oh, okay. Now, I looked over and my little booster has a red light on it, which means it's Comcast. They're on something right now.
I love it.
But
I love it that it happened when I said that, because that to me tells me it's real, right? Because I was in the middle of saying that the ancient Mayan proverb is, if it is to be, it is up to me.
ooh,
And people, we believe in our American culture, if it is to be, then someone's going to come and make it happen for me, right? We believe somebody else
right.
is coming to do it for us. Mayans believe if it's going to happen, it is up to you. So get moving, right? Get doing,
moving.
get creating, right? And stop waiting for someone to come, because God already sent you. You're there.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and until we kind of appreciate that cosmic connection, that wherever you are meant to be. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're meant to do. Whatever you're doing. And if you want to change the situation, guess who it's up to? It's up to you, because God is with you and all his army. You're
All the
not
time.
alone.
And I want to say this. You said it's meant to be. Let's focus on that word meant, because
Mhm.
you guys, I say to you all the time. I said it before you came in today. When we mean something, it becomes instantly meaningful somewhere within
Mhm.
our universe. And that's how it gets to be, to the point, meant to be.
Mhm.
So on that note, what do we got? 6 minutes. Because clearly you have mastered the art of manifestation. And I know a few masters of that, because I have a coaching client. She manifests things in seconds. I mean, she can say something, I need da 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 da. I'm going to go out, and she just says it. And then 10 minutes later, the call came. Hey, I heard you needed $200,000 for a down payment on a building. I'm like, girl, right? So clearly, you know about manifestation. Talk about that before we get out of here.
Yeah.
About those people that there are
Mhm.
those out there. I just don't know how to make it happen. I always
Mhm.
get to this point, but then there's no low hanging fruit to pluck.
Mhm.
Talk
Mhm.
about what you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. So manifestation, we call it manifestation, but years ago, centuries ago, what we now call manifestation is the belief that God is preparing the way for you. And you still need to walk that path. So it's not that you don't need to do something, you are the spark that starts it. And you have to keep moving forward. And as you move forward and you are determined to achieve your goal, what you will find is that people will come to you that are being sent to you for you to fulfill your goal. But it starts with you. No one is going to show up until the universe sees that you're committed, that you mean it, that you're walking forward, you're walking in faith. That is what that means. You're walking in faith. And when you are in alignment like that with the spiritual realm, you will find everybody will show up for you. And
Sure
those
will.
that don't are not in alignment
That's the law of
themselves.
attraction.
It's the law of attraction,
It
right? But
is.
that's an
Look at this
ancient thing that they're now calling law of
of
attraction. When our
attraction,
parents
right?
used to, right? It's ancient. When our parents used to say, pray, we all okay. And then we stopped praying. We stopped that direct link because we thought it was unnecessary. Oh, my friends don't do it.
Well,
But
because I believe this, Dr. Lydie, excuse me for jumping in.
no worries.
I believe the law of attraction doesn't automatically happen. I believe in a thing I refer to as the beckoning, because I have to say, come on, I have dominion here. So I need to, I'm this one with the starter pistol and all things. It needs my permission, just like negative things. God told me, Lauren, you need to quit telling people you were addicted to drugs for 14 years. You need to say, I was within addiction for 14 years, but you were never addicted to drugs. And I remember I was walking around the block here, around my cul-de-sac, getting some extra. I was like, what in the world are you talking about, Willis? Right? And he said, no, you weren't addicted to drugs. You were addicted to abusing the gift of invitation.
Right. Because you're spirit, Dr. Lauren. You're bigger than any drug.
Yeah.
Right? But we forget that. And in forgetting how powerful we are spiritually, these things in the earthly realm, drugs, liquor, blah, 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 we get sucked into it and we don't know how to release it. They have control. Right. We don't know how to release it.
And we're the only creatures that speak.
We're the only creatures that speak. That's true. We can ask. What does it say? Ask and it shall be given to you. We just don't know how to ask.
Don't know how to ask. And that's why, and see, people, we're trained to be specific. But when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to the law of attraction, because I don't know what's around that corner known as the future, but God does. So I don't manifest money or things. I manifest abundance. One thing.
That's it.
Because that covers everything. And it covers what I need and what I need to be of service. Before I even know what that service is, because it's continually growing and evolving and expanding, all those things. So this weekend, tomorrow, in fact, in Seattle, let's talk about that entree that you're going to lay out on that table for people to come up and go, and I could order some more of that. I like that. What's in it? What are you bringing to the table tomorrow?
I bring what I bring with me everywhere, the power of law. And the power of law is within us. We just don't know it, right? We live in a society where law controls, but yet no one taught us that. No one taught us how to deal with legal issues. Everything in our life runs on a legal format. And people don't realize that. We're not taught that. So I'm going to help folks at the event to see how law is in their business, how law is in their money, law is in their family, law is everywhere, and how to engage it in a positive way so they can manifest what they want.
Because a lot of us, we look at law like we look at online banking. Scared. I ain't going in there. I don't know. Right. People can continue checking you out, have the dialogue with you here at LydieTheGoodLawyer.com, or if LinkedIn is your jam, there it is, scrolling along the bottom. Now, if it's tickets you want for this free event in Seattle, there you go. mydhlife.events. Anybody you know in the greater Seattle area, do them a service. Be of service. Let them know that this is available tomorrow. They don't want to miss Dr. Lydie or any of the other great speakers and great people that will be there in attendance. Dr. Lydie, I want to just say how grateful I am. You had an arbitration or one of those big words this morning, and somehow together we have moved.
We manifested that.
Yes, you are here. And I just want to say how I remember when I was on the screen for some summit during COVID, and you were on there, and I was just mesmerized. And then when I found myself sitting right beside you at the restaurant in Miami, just a few weeks back, it was one of the most gratifying experiences I've had in a long, long time, because I've watched you and you're just so brilliant. And so giving and so loving. And I love our Black queens who are just, you can't touch that, right? You just can't. And I'm just so grateful. Come back again whenever you'd like. You have the time.
Whenever you want me, I'll be there.
Yes, yes. And you guys, don't go to sleep on this one. Don't let this opportunity known as Dr. Lydie slip between the cushions of your life. Don't throw this in a junk drawer somewhere. Put it on a Post-it note. Stick it on your fridge. Because I know that you will find joy and a bunch of other great assets when you go inside and get to know this woman. Have safe travels. I hope you guys go live a little bit so we can check it out tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. And when you see Steve, should you the airline thing, give him a big
I'll get there. One way or another, I'll get there.
Yeah, give him a big hug for us. And thank you so much for being here today. Anything you want to say in closing to everybody?
Yeah, I want everyone that can hear us to know that there's a beautiful world and it needs you in there. Mm-hmm. So be present in it.
It wouldn't be the same without you.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's true. God bless you, Dr. Lydie.
Bless you.
And blessings to all of you. Hey, next Monday, Dr. Stephanie Wall is joining us. You're going to love her. I met her in Atlanta when I went down to get that honorary doctorate degree. She is absolutely fabulous, just like you. Now, get out there today and every day, not just Monday through Friday, but every day. Get out and be the best version of yourself. Be that blessing that you'd love to receive. Do it, mean it, and watch what happens. Thank you so much, Dr. Lydie, and thank y'all. Have a great weekend. I'll see you, God willing, Monday, right on the front porch again for our next episode of Bathrobe Moments. Bye-bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.